What's happening, guys? Welcome to daithiraids and another Raid Shadow Legends video. You can tell by my voice I'm a little bit more somber because I'm looking at this hero's path, the path of the Faith Weaver. Yeah, so I suppose first things first, it is from upgrading. It's a champ training and summon rush. It's not a champion chase. So don't make the mistake of pulling any fragments or whatever that you have stored. It's summoning champion from chards. So summon rush, not champ chase. It does just say summon champions there and somewhere else as well. So it's not getting champions. It's using shards. Now, the other thing to look out for, this is not a soul or anything else. It is the avatar. If you want the avatar, by all means, go for it. But I have seen and heard people just unthinkingly make the mistake of getting this, thinking it was a starting point. It's not. If you like the avatars and want them, go for it 100%. Same with this here. This is just a frame. If you like them and you want them, go for it. If you do go for those, unless you complete the entire thing, both sides, you're not going to be able to get the soul. So let's look at breaking down how we're going to get the soul. So the soul is all the way at the bottom. There's no progressive thing getting the individual soul levels. It's just one 5-star perfect soul. Which, if you can get it, is great. If you can't, it means you're left with one hand as long as the other and nothing to show, if you know what I mean. How many points are we going to need? We're going to need quite a lot. Frankly put, we're going to need quite a few. Actually, long story short, you're going to need 84,000 points total to get to Freya. That's it. If that's all you need, 84,000 points. If that's the only information you need, that's everything you need from this video. The path I would be taking is the cheapest path, but only by 50 points, is to go for either one of these each side. Come straight down here and through the energy. I'd probably go through the energy just for accessibility. I'd get the speed glyph. I think, even though it's a 5-star, there could be an argument made that these coins are worth more. Actually, if you're 500 coins away from another pull at the moment in souls, I'd maybe go this side because there's a double up on souls at the minute. So yeah, coming down this side, whichever side is your preference, start on obviously the same side as that, so you will know. I believe you could come down to this, get that mortal soul stone, and go over this way, get the gems and get those coins. And actually, I think that's what I might do. Get this key, and then once you're at the key, that's already 9,000 points. Okay, so that's 2 sacred shards worth. If we're looking at this, that's 2 sacred shards just to get to the first key. Now, after that, things get expensive. I had a bit of a sneezing fit, so I've done it off camera there, but things get expensive after the key, and you can see the prices start jumping up. Now, what you want to do here is up to yourself. Speed glyph is obviously, they're quite important. I'd probably come across to this just because of what's going on at the minute with the double up. I'd probably get those and get this. Come down and get the book, and get the second lot of keys. So that'll leave you with 3 keys, and by that point, you've 34,000 points used to get the second key. Now, the good news is your path is directly open then. You have 3 keys. If you haven't used on any of the stuff up here, you can use them to open this lock. And then all you need is another 50,000. What the hell? Like, that's, to me, that's bonkers, right? So let's say it's a champ training and summon rush. Okay. If we were doing this on, let's get the old calculator out. If we were doing this purely on shards, we're talking about 84,000 to get Freya's soul. Remember, it's not a champion, it's a soul. So 84,000 divided by 4,500. Okay. So it's 18 sacred shards. They actually maybe made a mistake somewhere. It's usually around 20. But it's 18 sacred shards. If we were to do that, 84,000, let's see, what was I saying? You know, voids or ancients. Like, I mean, with ancients, divide by 300. Yowza. 280. And if we looked at voids, 750. 112. So it's an expensive soul to get. Now, what would it do for Freya? Let's have a look at our kit. Let's see what would be good on Freya and what exactly would do for her. How necessary is it? I have her in stock. I don't have her. I haven't pulled her yet, but I have the fragments for her there. So she has a 40% chance of placing provoke on her A1. So she needs accuracy for that. So she'd get an extra 75 accuracy from the 5-star blessing. She places increased defense. Her shields are based off defense and champion max HP. So she'd get extra defense from the 3rd stage of the blessing. She'd also removes all debuffs from all allies and places a block debuffs buff on them for 2 turns. So she's a cleanser as well. So she'd get extra resistance. If you want to build her with resistance, she'd get extra resistance as a cleanser. And she fills turn meter. She wouldn't get the extra speed. We're 1 shy of the level 6. So you'd need to invest 300 of the whatever the top currency is in the Altar of Souls to get her up to a 6-star soul to get the extra speed for a speed booster. So, let's see. Passive effect increases the champion's defense by 5% each time an ally inflicts a critical hit. So she'd have a higher starting defense for this to increase by 5%. So it would have a logarithmic. No, it would have an effect anyway. Each increment would be more because of that. It's definitely not logarithmic, forget I said that. Prevents the death of the ally with the highest crit damage except this champion and keeps them alive at 1 HP when hit with a fatal hit. Multiple champions on the team, it'll only activate once. Heals that ally by 20% of their max HP and activates an instant turn effect on them. So it's not going to affect that. But it will pay into all the other skills depending on how you want to build Freya. It will make her way easier to build, whatever way you want to build her. The attack and crit damage isn't really going to have any effect. I doubt anybody's building her as a nuker. You probably can build her for damage. If you like. But then let's see what blessings actually would I use with her. Obviously, if you're going the accuracy route, you could go with, and we'll look at an accuracy route. You could use Brimstone Probably not in arena though. And I think she's arena. Polymorph. If you're building accuracy on her for that provoke, it's probably the weakest element of her skill, I would think. But you could build her with polymorph at 5-star. It's a 15% chance of placing a sheep debuff and requires accuracy to be placed, so it can be resisted. So you're getting 75 resistance and accuracy at that point as well. Anyway, so you could build her with that. Crushing Rend, Incinerate, absolutely no point. Emergency Heal. She does place shields, so that could be worthwhile. She places them on herself as well. So that could be worthwhile to keep her alive. And the heal is equal to a portion of the champion's max HP, which would be bigger because of this stuff. Partially fills this champion's turn meter whenever a debuff is placed or spread or transferred onto them. And at level 5, fills it by 10%. So yeah, that could be good. That could be good as well. More turn meter boosting, so it would boost her turn meter. She's a cleanser. She might be able to get round, cleanse your teammates a bit quicker. And decreases of the cooldown of the skill and 25% turn meter fill as well. So that could be actually quite good. If you lose your cleanse, it'll could help you get back around to it as well. That's not going to be much use. This isn't going to be much use. Those are more damage based ones. Weak hits on Poison Cloud debuffs, probably not. I mean, if you were building her solely for Hydra, yeah, an argument could be made for it, but you'd be ignoring the most of everything else that she does. She only has a 45% chance on the A1 with masteries to place provoke on the Poison Cloud, so I wouldn't be going for that. Nothing here applies to her. Nothing here applies to her. No. She doesn't place increased defense on anyone except herself, I think. But maybe. Let me check that one. No, increased defense on all allies. So that actually could be good. And that could make her somewhat viable for Fire Knight or something. Where were we? So yeah, Faultless Defense probably has the best synergy with her so far. So 9% of the damage would be reflected back at that stage. So whenever an enemy attacks an ally under increased defense placed by her, it reflects a portion of the damage back to the attacker. 9% of the damage reflected. Nothing changes with higher levels of it. Commanding presence boosts aura for everyone. Yeah, for a cleanser, Chainbreaker is not a bad option, because she has a chance to cleanse it off herself, and then 20% chance of filling her turn meter by 20% when hit. And at the start of her turn has a chance to remove any stun, freeze, sleep, provoke, fear, true fear, or petrification placed on her, and only activates if the champion is under any of those buffs. 10% chance of removing, 15. So does it? I think it stays at 15 and gives her a 20% chance of filling her turn meter as well. Maybe it's meant to be 20% and 20% as well, because this goes up to 25 here. Maybe. I actually I'll have to raise a ticket about that. Soul Reap is, no, not for her. She's not. I don't think she's going to be a big damage dealer, although she can do damage. She only has the one. Life Harvest then is good for arena, stopping people getting back up, but I think there's better options. Sorry, not stopping people getting back up. They will have a far reduced health bar when they get back up. So destroy enemies' max HP by 30% and fills 20% of her turn meter, which is pretty decent. And then looking at Dark, Dark Resolve, no. Phantom Touch, no. Cruelty, possibly for Hydra, because we'd be decreasing target defense by 2% per hit, up to 30% for champions, up to 15% per bosses, and she has an AoE A1, I believe, so that could be useful for that. Temporal Chains is always good. She is a speed booster, so that would be really good synergy with her there. Bone Armor, Ward of the Fallen. I always call this Bone Armor instead of Ward of the Fallen. But stacks decreased damage received by 30%, which is pretty nice. She's not a reviver though, but she does cleanse and she does give shields and speed boosts. So yeah, not the worst so far. Probably Temporal Chains or Faultless Defense would be the ones I'd be looking at, or Cruelty. Lethal Dose is no application for her. And then looking at this, Miracle Heal, no use for her. Indomitable Spirit, maybe. 15% chance of blocking debuffs. Yeah, I mean, you could go for it if you want. Iron Will, I would be saying no, to be honest. Heaven Cast, no. Intimidating Presence, possibly. But it's a team one. Depends on your team comp and what you've got going on. And maybe Lightning Cage then to protect the buffs that are on her. Lightning Orb stacks have a 75% chance to protect a random buff from being stolen, removed, or transfer. And at 3 stars gains 1 Lightning Orb stack whenever an enemy receives a buff or has their turn meter filled. So, yeah, I don't think there's any massive game changers there for her. I would certainly be looking Lightning Cage, Temporal Chains, Cruelty, Faultless Defense, maybe Polymorph. That's what I'd be looking at. And none of them, I don't think, or maybe actually Harmonic Impulse, I don't think any of them are absolutely 100%, oh my god, I need to get X blessing on this champion because it's going to be an absolute game changer. So yeah, so I think, me personally, I don't think it's a must get. I think if you're going for it, you're going for it for the stats. Okay, so this depends on your level, obviously, in the game, where you are. If you're going for it, you're going for the stats. If you're not competing in high-end arena, it's not going to matter a huge ton. Now, blessings do also have applications in hard dungeons and Amius, where they take less damage and give more damage if they have a higher blessing. So don't forget about that. But if I was you, and I'm not, I'm me, so I'll speak as me, look at your resources. Let's do a quick tot up there. So for me personally, I have 9,000 in resources, in sacreds, plus, what was it, 1,500 in primals? We'll do this rough. Plus 750 in sacred, or in voids, plus 330 in ancients. I'm only 70, what is it? I'm only 72,000 short. So, I'd have to do this in champ training. Looking at my gems and my energy. Now, and don't forget, it is 4 days long, so we can come into more sacreds and more whatever. There is a 2x sacred event on at the moment. But you're looking at a lot of champion training. So what have you got in your pots? What have you got in your chickens? All of that. Those are the resources you're going to have to look at, unless you have, upwards of 12 sacreds. I mean, if you have 12 sacreds, 4,500 multiplied by 12, 54,000, that leaves you with 30,000 between the rest of your shards and champ training. That's way more comfortable, and you're likely getting at least one Lego champion from pulling your sacreds with 12 anyway. On the balance of things, you'll probably get at least one. Not guaranteed though. So yeah, that's my thesis on it, guys. It's all down to, do you need those stats on Freya? Do you really need them? It's good to have, definitely, but there's nothing there that I'm just going, oh my god, I need this soul on her because X is going to be so important to me. Maybe the resistance, or maybe if I can get her to 6-star. And looking at my resources here for buying souls, I'm way off being able to get her to 6-star. And if I get the chance to get a 6-star soul, it's not going to Freya. It's going to likely somebody else. So those are my thoughts, guys. I don't think it's a must get. I think Freya's a really, really good champion. I think the soul will improve her. It'll improve all her stats. I think there are some blessings that are good for her. But I don't think you need it. If you can get it and it's not going to cost you anything, sure, go for it. Absolutely not. I'm not against going for it, but I think it's not a must-have. That's my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think, and I will catch you in the next one. Like and subscribe below. I've been daithiraids. Take care. Bye bye.